lights off, he come grooving up slowly. He got juju eyeball, he won holy roller. He got hair down to his knee. Got to be a joker, he just do what he please.
On Koof Radio, we are live. We are on the air. We are in the house. Chan, are you there? I'm gonna tell y'all what's so funny about what's happening right now. This whole time we've been on before the show started, and Chan was perfectly fine. And now that we are on the air, she is starting to freeze. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. Technology. Well, I'm sure y'all probably know the things we're going to talk about and discuss today. One of being which today we're going to break down what we think might happen in the Kamala Harris Pence debate. And then we're going to talk about President Donald Trump being the outbreak monkey, giving half of the White House COVID-19. And a video just dropped like Bin Laden a couple of minutes ago where he basically told his followers it was a blessing that he got COVID because he was given the cure first. And now he wants to give the cure to everyone else. Rob?
Motherfucker didn't pay taxes. He got free health care. What the fuck?
Look, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say about what's happening, what's going on.
What we always say, every single week, it can't get any worse. And like you said, he just surprises us every single week. It's not a daily thing. It's every 3 hours, something new.
I can't even keep up with the news cycle, man, because it's so much. Like every time I'm like, oh, we're going to have to talk about this on Uncouth Radio next week. By the time Uncouth Radio comes, I forgot because there were 6 other things that happened before we could even get to it on the show, man. Like it's kind of insane. Chandra, what do you think of your president having COVID? Oh, Rob, you got a fan.
President Obama has COVID? What?
That's what he says. He says it was a blessing in disguise. I got the greatest treatment.
My president is President Obama. I didn't know he had COVID.
Some call it therapeutic. I call it a cure. I don't know why they don't call it a cure, but I call it therapeutic, and it's a cure. Shout out to Marcus, man. Marcus been selling barbecues, and we got a barbecue dinner from Marcus Robinson. Shout out to him. And what's the name of your business, Marcus? I know we just call you Boss Barbecue. Everybody, next time Marcus Robinson posts on this page,
business name.
Yeah. Get you some Boss Barbecue. Fire. Those greens, fire. You know.
Everything fire. Hey, Marcus. Fire. Thanks for the fire barbecues. My president is President Obama, first of all. He does not have COVID. Second of all, the other dude, well, what I don't know if you guys talked about this while I was gone, but I see what was really weird is how people thought he was like doing it for a stunt, which is really sad. People didn't believe him. People, figured out thought it was like his whole little master plan. We had a whole full-on argument in my sister's inbox. Like we were half of us were like he's fake, and the other half was like he's not. Like we were really debating. It was really crazy.
Right.
But the thing about it is, of course, it's not shocking because we've been seeing his reckless attitude and behavior about it. Like I'm not wearing a mask. I don't, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So what do I think about it? I think it's only inevitable. I think we now know karma exists. I think it's just awful the way he's like behaving. And what's also awful is people think it's because he's on drugs. I don't think so. I think this is like regular Trump behavior. It don't have nothing to do with drugs or nothing. This is how he acts. This could have been here without COVID. You
I
know,
mean,
so
I guess that's true. So look, there are discussions that I've been seeing on my timeline. I've been seeing discussions that some people, like you said, Chandra, think it might be a hoax, or some people think he really has it. Which side do you land on, Rob? Do you think he really had it, or do you think it was a hoax to try to get him some sympathy votes?
To be honest with you, I thought it was in the very beginning. There was an excitement in my voice about what was going on, but the way everything was drawing out, I thought it was a publicity stunt. The whole, all the news media watching the helicopter for about an hour. Then all of a sudden he makes a grand entrance, gets on the flight, and leaves. No. Panel back. Panel back.
Why don't none of y'all like the close up? Y'all whack. Messing up my
Yeah.
we don't like
messing
that
up my
attention. We don't like
yeah,
that
messing up
attention.
my editing style. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to edit this show.
Yeah. Like, to be honest with you, and I really think about it. At the end of the day, he is a showman, a showman. Firsthand. Like he knows nothing
Oh my
about
God,
politics.
coronavirus and cheat, here he comes.
Yeah. So at this point, it's a he's turned the presidency into a reality show. That's what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. I thought it was a hoax at first. There's no way he got it, and I thought he was trying to use it to take the heat off of that terrible ass debate performance, right? And when I saw him breathing after he tried to make his grand "I'm good" announcement, I'm like, I think he really got that shit. But our coronavirus in chief, Quincy, he has some reasons why he thinks that it's definitely not a hoax, why he definitely thinks this is not something he pretended to have. Quincy, give us your take of why you feel like for sure he had it and he is the outbreak monkey and gave it to everybody.
You call him an outbreak monkey?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's a hoax. To me, if you remember, this was the one thing they was trying to avoid. Was talk about COVID. Even before the debate with Biden, they was like, "Hey, don't bring up the deaths. Like, don't mention COVID. Like, even trying to avoid COVID." So, I didn't believe it was a hoax. It was just a matter of time. We were saying how this was going to catch up to him because it kept on getting closer. We would find out somebody had it, and it just seemed like it was inevitable because it kept on getting closer and closer to him and his staff. But just the whole symbolism of it. Here you are, you downplayed something. You called it a hoax. And now your entire staff and people from your party and senators all have the very virus that you have downplayed and called a hoax. So, to me, I know we're probably going to talk about the debate tonight. If I'm Kamala, my thing would be, how can your administration protect the people from COVID? They can even protect themselves and keep the White House safe. So it's like by him catching COVID. I think that's why you see the numbers. I don't know if I noticed the numbers are like horrible right now for him, because this is the worst possible thing that could have happened. And whoever leads Hope Hicks having virus, if that shit never came out, we still wouldn't know. And I think because that was leaked, they had to let us know, and then other people started to get it, and it all came from that White House party. So I just think the symbolism of it, him wanting to avoid it, because now that's all people want to talk about. At first, it was, remember, it was kind of about his taxes, but now because he has COVID, his staff has COVID, everybody have COVID. The one thing that he didn't want to talk about, they have to talk about, and that's all people want to talk about. So now I do get why people was didn't believe. I mean, with Trump, you got to shit. Whoever believes the first thing that come out his mouth, but remember, we didn't find out from them. The shit was getting leaked, and the White House was confirming it. So it's not like the White House was volunteering this information. It was like, we just found out such and such got COVID, and they had to confirm it. So, that's why I didn't think it was a hoax, but that's why they haven't fixed trying to fix this shit, because I think that like I told Chandra when I heard that he had it, I said I think he just lost the election because it was so the symbolism of him getting it, the White House getting it, it just goes back to they were irresponsible with us. That same irresponsibility is in the White House, and it just showed. So.
Yeah, and to add to that, Q, I think also not just the irresponsibility of the White House, but just the exposure of just how unprepared they are to not just provide updates for the commander in chief. Like a lot of the suspicions that people had that he wasn't being tested came out true, where he's walking around saying, I'm being tested every single day, everyone around me is being tested every single day. The fact of the matter that you went into the debate with Joe Biden, you purposely showed up late, and they let you walk on the honor system, that in itself just kind of shows you just truly how messed up everything is with this administration.
Yeah,
and what's even worse?
Oh, go ahead,
Quincy.
No,
I said it's even worse.
There's a delay. Well, go, Dan. I'll wait.
Yeah, go. Okay. I was gonna say, like, it's crazy that, like, so I just worked on set of a show the other day, and we had to take COVID tests before we could even walk into set. It literally took 15 minutes to get our results back. So there is no excuse. And I know he probably has the even more rapid results joint where they don't even have to go up your nose. I know they have one that could swab, but it's way more expensive. You can swab and get the results back in 5 minutes. There's no excuse on God's green earth why the president shouldn't have been tested before.
He just didn't He just didn't want to. He didn't want to. He stopped. He didn't care.
It's just reckless and irresponsible at this point, and I feel like he's like, is he trying to prove a point by, you know what I'm saying? Is he trying to prove a point by being reckless? Is he trying to prove a point by not doing what he's supposed to do?
For me, I've been trying to figure out a lot of his. Here we go, Dave. Come on, and then I don't like my braids. I don't like. I don't like. Like, I'm gonna talk like this, like with a box and like an emoji. Put an emoji there. Like, okay.
Finish your point, woman.
I think he's just old. Like, he's old. He won't change. He's just stuck in his ways. He's racist. All those stuff. He doesn't care. He's selfish. He's narcissistic, and we're reaping the consequences of all that. Like, I think he's not trying to prove a point. I guess, but he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. Even the people around him. He doesn't care. He's not listening to anybody. Nothing is beneficial. Even like his poll numbers. Even if you listen to his poll numbers, he should have at least done like the whole like sympathy thing. Like, okay, you know what? I didn't do what I was supposed to. You know what I mean? He could have played that. He could have, tried. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Because he's been surrounded by nothing but enablers. Like, his own party is doing everything it possibly can to cater to his will. He's literally surrounded by yes men. I want to do such. Yes, sir. That's, so whenever you have individuals like that, there is no sympathy. There is no empathy. There is no accountability, because everyone's always going to come to you and say, you're right, they're wrong.
Yeah. We got Ron joining us to finally got a chance to. Ron, tell me, what did you think of Trump's COVID adventures? What are you seeing?
It was kind of interesting. I got to see his little video in front of the White House where he's kind of just making a mockery of the entire event. he sees this as a form of or a way to profit off of it by kind of promoting pharmaceutical companies and things of this nature. So I'd be really interested to see what he actually is making off of this. Give me one second. And the damn gardener always comes by when you're doing something. But yeah, it was just a complete mockery. It kind of shows how little he takes this actually serious, and it's just another an indictment on who he is as a person. He's just roughly, like Marvel always say, he's a clown. And I think it's in Americans' best interest to do what they have to do. I just got my ballot in, about to start doing some research on and looking through some of the other things. But my decision is made as far as Biden's, as far as Trump's concerned. He has made a complete mockery of something that, we may have seen as something that wasn't what it should be, but it was never this bad. And so he has set the bar at the lowest, I would assume, in our lifetime at the least. And he's going to continue to show his true colors when given the opportunity. I do like people that are just honest, and he's been very honest with the fact that he just doesn't care. And I can accept a person when they tell me who they are up front, and I accept him for who he is. Hopefully he'll get back to Celebrity Apprentice and doing the clown stuff he does, and we can move on from this 4-year tragedy that we've experienced.
Well, you guys know, in a couple of minutes, well, about an hour or so, it's the can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, in a couple minutes, hour or so, it's going to be the vice presidential debate, and I was listening to CNN, and they were talking about how they only normally have one, and it's usually not, it's like, okay, whatever. Like in one, the last one President Obama had, they said he didn't do well, and that Biden kind of came up and like cleaned it up, and like they're expecting the VPs to do that today. But another reason why it's important is because if either Trump or Biden wins, both will be the oldest to start office. So, it's very likely that you'll have your vice president, God forbid something like happens, like, legitimately have to take over one of them, or be taking over a lot of the duties or responsibilities, being possibly groomed to be the next candidate or whatever, 2024. So, they said that one's pretty important. And if you feel like you really didn't get a chance to listen to or hear some of the policies because of his history on it, it would be probably good to kind of watch the debate and see kind of how they kind of bring things out as well. They're expecting it to be a little bit more civil, just because of the two personalities, and because we know it was one personality really that kind of made it a debacle. So yeah, that's coming up in a little bit, but I think that it's important, historic for different reasons. But if you really want to get some, they're looking forward to it being like some real like discussion, like a real debate. So hopefully it comes off like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna say real quick though. Let's go ahead and get into the debate right now. Okay. We have Pence and Kamala Harris going into the debate right now. Mars, I'm gonna throw it to you. What are some things you think, or what are some things you want to see happen tonight? Some points that you want to make sure Kamala hits that will make you feel like that's what I want to hear. That's what you need to be saying. That's what needs to get through to the people when you're having this debate. Go ahead, Rob.
I think for Kamala, she needs to be. There are only 2 points in which I think she needs to be making. She needs to show the irresponsibility of the administration and their handling of COVID, and at the same time, really discuss the impact of the Affordable Care Act and the risk that is at play should the Republicans be able to, terminate Obamacare.
That's a good point, because we forget, or maybe not, but Pence was the head of the coronavirus task force. So, he kind of led the charge supposedly, and he has to answer for, different things that Trump kind of overruled, or, you know what I mean? Like, you were the one that's, Trump wasn't even sitting in those meetings.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? He was just going out there. And I also like the point about the Affordable Care Act, because number one, because the high level of unemployment, people also don't understand, because people like to talk about like unemployment and not working, and people getting paid more money to not work. When you are on unemployment, you don't have health care. So you can't, when you lose your job, you don't have, health care for a lot of these jobs. So people who are afraid, they're afraid of getting sick. They're afraid of you know, all these things. And it's a really important, you know, thing, especially with the judge coming in who's made it clear like she's a Trumpian. So it's a very, very real concern.
Mm. At the same time, it's like the amount of people that now are infected with COVID, you know, whatever illness or that will follow them after the fact. Those are pre-existing conditions that will now, if they're able to get their way, will nullify and void their access to healthcare.
Keela has a good comment too. She said she needs to highlight his complicity in all of this, and especially like for me personally, what I would do, I would attack them trying to take away the ACA from people in the middle of a pandemic. I would attack that he was the head of the Corona Task Force, so this is really on him. And then I would tie it all back into his Christianity. You supposed to be a Christian. Why are you letting these things happen to people? You're supposed to be a Christian. Why are you letting the president do these things to the people? You're supposed to be the president. You know, you're supposed to be you're supposed to be the conscience of the president. Like, even if we don't expect Trump to be morally sound, your whole thing is supposed to be built on being a Christian and being morally sound. So why are you backing all these plays? That's what I would do. That would be my home base. What would be your home base, Ron?
Well, I would just ask him, what would mother do? You know, isn't that what he calls his wife? You know, I would, like you said, I would just dig into his moral compass, you know, if he has one, which is probably clear he doesn't. But the reality is that, like mentioned before, I would have a Kamala attack the healthcare, because those are some of the things that are most concerning, especially for people who are up in age and who don't have. I mean, shit, I have insurance and I get scared to get sick because it costs so damn much, just the deductibles and stuff. So I can only imagine someone who doesn't have it. And I mean, I know people who haven't had health care or dental or things like this that go around with tooth aches. They get cuts and, you know, they're scared to go to the hospital just for fear of being charged or being turned away. And then I think we just saw a story a couple of days ago where a black man died of COVID and was turned away from 3 different hospitals. So I would use just examples like that of just real life scenarios where people, they kind of have to look past their hatred. I mean, do you hate people enough to risk your own life? Or is it something that you really are willing to sort of sacrifice? You know, I mean, it's time for us all to sort of bend like bamboo. We may not break in our beliefs, but at least be willing to bend a little bit to, you know, to get what's needed for your family. And if not for you, at least think about the generations after you. I mean, that's kind of been my kind of outtake on this. You know, I stopped being selfish and thinking that, hey, this is all about me. And I had to start bringing the kids and the grandkids and people who are behind me who may not decide to leave this country as I plan to do, you know, but I'm taking more of a mature adult approach to this with the understanding I know what's going on. I know it ain't the way we want it to be, but I'm just putting all my personal beliefs, my personal feelings, beliefs, and sort of the way I see things aside for the betterment of the whole. You know, and it may not benefit me or my family, but if I can help somebody else, especially a black family, I have no problem doing what's right to benefit the black folks in the future.
Right. And so also, you know, Keela said appealing to the morals won't work. Well, I don't think when you're appealing to the morals, you're not really appealing to the morals for Pence's sake or for him to change his mind or anything like that. You saying you want to appeal to the morals for the people watching, right? You doing that to highlight their failures. Like, I think you have to highlight the failures of this administration and tie it to something that matters to them, right? Like, I think if I was debating Trump, I will highlight all his failures, and then you tie it to his ego, because you know that's his weakness, and you know that's the thing that'll set him off, right? And you know that's the thing that'll throw him off kilter. So I would do the same in a, you know, because there's different approaches for different people. So when you're, you know, in a debate with Pence, you attack his morality and his Christianity, because then you're gonna get that indignant Pence who want to stand on top of his morals when he really can't. So you kind of throw him off his game. So that's why I was saying attack the morals, Keelan. Not that I think he would change his mind, or not that I think he would become, you know, morally uncorrupt after that. I was just saying as a strategy and a home base when you're debating people like that. Quincy, what do you want to see in the debates tonight? Like, what do you think you need to see Kamala do to help bring some people to her side, some people who don't feel at ease with her yet? What are some things you think she needs to do, some points she needs to hit in order to, you know, to win some brownie points, basically? You muted. Hold on. There you
Kind of like what you were saying. She has to put his morals on trial tonight, and basically build this case because Mike Pence is different from Trump. I'm quite sure y'all covered that already. He's calm.
Right.
He's gonna, to their base, he's gonna come off very presidential. That's what they call that bullshit. He's gonna be
Right.
calm. He's gonna be very choosy with his words. He's gonna try to take this high morale type of role. So, like you said, what she have to do, she have to put him on trial for that. And kind of go there into his area. Like, okay, you're a Christian. You know what? I'm a Christian too. Now, let's talk about some things that you and your administration have done, and let's see if that is Christ-like.
Right.
And then kind of, and then go from there. Because obviously, you get to pick and choose what sins or what's not God-like. Well, you know what? You sitting up here high-minded. Let's talk about your administration. And and then go from there. What is do you believe that this was Christ-like? The Bible, the God, the Lord that we serve, do you think he would agree with these actions? I would actually go there with him. Because that's the one thing he's gonna try to hang his hat on. And then he's in charge of the COVID task force. So he just as responsible for this mess as Trump is. So I would go there with him and put this jet on him just as much as Trump, because he's a part of the task force, And then I would ask him, like, look, straight up, do you know when last time the president tested negative? If you say no, like, how are you in charge? You're the second in command, and this is things you don't know. And then just other things that people are upset about. I would make him Trump accomplice. Like everything Trump did, you allowed it. You sat there, you didn't say nothing. You allowed it to happen. You helped him do it. And that's how I would come at Mike Pence. I think she would do it because her district attorney always come out in her debates.
Right.
So that's how she got Biden ass in that in one of those debates.
A couple of debates. A couple of debates.
Yeah. Her district attorney what she got in trouble with in the primaries was when Tulsi Gabbard was just making up shit and throwing shit out there against her about her record. Kamala got defensive and she started defending her record versus and
addressing
so,
the facts of what Tulsi was saying.
Instead of addressing the facts. So she can't fall into that trap again because because Joe Biden, that happens to him. He does the same shit. He had his things, and then all somebody has to do is bring up the crime bill. And although a lot of people don't even know that there's parts of the crime bill he didn't even like and fuck with.
Yeah.
That's not the narrative. And you just got to understand that's just not the narrative out there. But and then he'll get stuck trying to defend the crime bill, or he'll try to defend his position on the crime bill instead of just saying, look, just dealing with it. Look, these are the things I supported in the crime bill. These are the things I didn't like, and just move on from it.
Yeah.
He get caught in his record. And that's what happened to Kamala. When Tulsi Gabbard was throwing all that bullshit out there, she got caught just defending her record. And that's when her numbers started to drop. But I think she would do well. My only concern is her, and I'm quite sure her staff is talking to her about it, is because Mike Pence come off so calm and collected, that she doesn't come off as because if she come off with that district attorney type of deal, that could be perceived as that angry black woman shit.
Mhm. The thing is, Pence is also, he has his reputation for being a great debater. So I think tonight is going to be a chess match.
Yeah, because Pence will lie straight at you, and he would make you think that shit came out the Bible. like he would be like, look, in Matthew chapter 3, verses 11 to 13.
Yeah.
It says, "Make America great again," and keep going.
Yeah,
Like,
you like,
like, and you over there like, this motherfucker just really saying that's not in the Bible, and like keep going.
so let me ask y'all this. After that debacle that was the presidential debate, do you think we're actually going to hear some talk about policy tonight in this debate, which we didn't get a chance to hear, you know, and I don't even want to call that shit a debate, that last that white version of Wildin' Out. That's what it was. It was Wildin' Out without Nick Cannon.
That was a wrestling promo.
I think because you got two people who are you got both. One is a senator, one is a former senator. So I think we'll get more of a traditional debate tonight. It just, Kamala really pressing him. Like I haven't really seen Mike Pence really get pressed.
Right.
In a debate.
Because Tim Kaine was horrible. I went back and watched the Tim Kaine Pence debate. First of all, if you could be more bland than Mike Pence in a debate, something is wrong. If you could be more vanilla and beige than Mike Pence, something is very wrong. And Tim Kaine was so unforgettable that I had to remember his name to even Google the damn debate. I had to Google Mike Pence to get to Tim Kaine because I couldn't remember Tim Kaine's name. That was probably the worst in history.
I told Chandra that Pence versus Tim Kaine was NyQuil debating Advil PM. Like that shit would put you down, bro.
Like you got insomnia, watch that debate.
Yeah. like if they really wanted to like use that in a death chamber, to tie you up to a chair and play that shit.
Torture you. Just torture the shit.
Your ass gonna be out. That debate, and Tim Kaine was horrible. He was a horrible VP selection, but that's a whole different deal.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. That, But yeah, so I do think we'll get a more grounded debate tonight. I think we will get some more policy. And like you guys said, I think it would be wise. I don't think Kamala will because she's too smart, but I think it would be wise for all the people who are watching, who are Democrats, to not underestimate how good Pence is at debating. And like Keela said, how good Pence is at deflecting. And on to what Quincy said, how good Pence is at lying to your face and making you feel like he just served you some of mother's warm milk. And
what she have to do is kind of like what that moderator did to Martha McSally. He let her get out all her bullshit, and then he went right back to his question.
Right.
So
that's your favorite tactic, Quince. Like that's your favorite tactic. You do that all the time.
Yeah.
All that stuff, but then go back to my original easy question.
Yeah, and go back to and press my original point. Like he gonna shoot all that bullshit and just go back. Okay, well you're the leader of the COVID task force,
right?
So, and he gonna shoot out some more bullshit. But yes,
you're the leader
of the COVID task force. So, lack of tests, all that. But you are like I will continue to go back on that. Like, you're in charge of this shit. You are the leader of the COVID task force. So, in the end, you can't blame it on nobody because you're the leader of the COVID task force. And I would literally go back to that shit.
Well, and let me ask you guys this. We know Trump has been rage tweeting, tweeting like a damn mad person more than usual.
That nigga drug is so them drugs got his ass toe up.
So how bad do you think him tweeting that he was holding stimulus hostage till after election? How bad do you think that hurt him politically?
Very, very much so. Because a couple of hours later, he went around and was like, "Yo, I'll sign off on anything."
Yeah.
He was like, "I'll sign off on a stimulus. Let's just do the stimulus check." Because, as Pelosi said, he wants those checks out there with his name on it, where people will think, "Oh, Trump just sent me a check. Let me, do that loyalty vote."
Yeah, because people did fall for that shit the first time.
Yeah.
People fell for that shit the first time. Like, oh, Trump name was on the check. I was like, you got to be the dumbest fuck on earth. People fell for that shit the first time. So, look, they said over 72% of the country said that they wanted that stimulus relief bill passed before that Supreme Court nominee. Like, to get to 72% on any poll, there's some of his people that came over.
Yeah, for sure.
To the other side.
Yeah.
You don't get that on any poll. You don't get that high percentage on anything without other people from the other side coming over.
I think he made a miscalculation in thinking that his constituents would care about the Supreme Court more than they would care about stimulus at this time. I think he overplayed that hand just a little bit. Just
a little bit.
Yeah.
The polling was at 68% that said that they don't want the Supreme person in place now.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, like Mara said, you never seen him say something like that
and backtrack on it,
and then come up a couple hours later, like, look, all right, maybe we could do the 1,200. That's because somebody told, like, nigga, you just lost the election for sure.
He saw them double-digit leads that Biden has.
He did that. Rick James. He was like, "I ain't never messed up nobody's couch." Yeah, I remember messing up your couch. That's what he did with the tweets.
I got a question.
Yes, Chandra.
I got a question. Do you guys? Is there anything he can do? You think right now to salvage some type of? And I'm not talking about like his personality or dignity, but like election, anything he could do to like claw his way back up.
Nah, I think dude.
I think the combination of him getting COVID after he didn't convince his followers it was a hoax and that it was a democratic disease. Him getting COVID and him saying he wasn't going to sign them stimulus checks. I think those two things back to back may have done him in. But America has been very stupid before as well. But I would just say, oh, that's a good point. Keela said it was the stocks dropping. When he made that tweet and the stocks dropped, that also did him in because not only are you losing your regular constituents, you losing that money. Your money guys now rocking with you and what you saying.
Yeah,
because people don't have money to spend. Like they've taken away the extra 600. They don't have really anything in place. People are still unemployed. There's no jobs. And the stimulus would be like a little extra boost. You know what I mean? And
he's trailing in states that I never thought in my lifetime since falling politics, I've seen a Republican trailing states in. Like he's trailing in Georgia. He's trailing in Arizona.
And he got Texas close, which never happened.
And Texas is like two points away. He's losing to Pennsylvania. And just keep this in mind. In modern time, no Republican has won the presidency without Ohio or Florida. So every time a Republican has won president, the presidency, they have won Ohio or Florida. And right now he's behind in Ohio and he's tied in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So he's losing in places that I wouldn't expect him to be behind.
I want to speak on this point. Can we trust the polls this year, or is there a larger silence voice this election cycle? I think there is a larger silent voice because they're not taking into consideration these new voters, these young new voters that have been registering since March.
Yeah.
With everything. So I think that this is going to this is an unforeseeable blue that's going to catch them off guard.
Also, though, but also too, I think the silent voice is still like that 53% white women who voted for Trump last time. Those people who will not say that they're voting for Trump in polls, but are actually going to vote for him when they get in the booth. I do, but I don't think it's because Hillary and Trump at this point was much, much closer. And when it was this close at this point, Hillary got her Falcon on and blew a 28-3 lead and stopped campaigning. She got too cocky and she stopped doing the things that she needed to do to continue to reach out to her constituents in those 3 states.
Well, also remember it was close, and then as much Jim
Comey, yeah.
As much Jim Comey don't like to take the heat for it, but he helped Trump get in office with that, putting out her emails or an investigation. What's that, like a week or 2 weeks before the election?
A week, 2 weeks before the election.
2 weeks before the election. So Comey helped because that's when Trump actually took the lead.
Yeah.
After that,
her emails.
With that turned out to be shit. So Comey, he hates Trump, but
it was his fault. Well, part of it.
Yeah. It was part of his fault.
One of the things about the polls. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm getting like a little bit of a lag, so it's weird. So I'm just gonna like keep talking and hope that it just goes through. One of the things that we also have to remember about the polls, you have to really make sure that you look at the polls that they're using, and then they also have the error factor just based on like historical data. So a lot of times when we're talking about the polls, it's polls that are very reliable, and they also try to poll an equal or as close to equal amount of like Republicans and Democrats. So it's a very valid question because there was that huge silent majority is what they were calling themselves. But polling and historical like data, I think it helps us get an idea. And especially the way things are going now, we kind of see like, yeah, people are not happy. Like Quinn said, that's 72%. Like when do you get 72% of over 300 million, is it like 300 million of us Americans to agree on anything? Well, it's not that many, but the portion of people that they hold. So, they're probably really pretty close to accurate as they can be.
Yeah, and the fact that some of the polls you have to look at is like I always pay attention to is if he losing on Fox News polls. That's when you know it's problems. Because if anybody that want him to be winning is Fox News. So when Trump, that's why I kind of look at Fox News polls, and I think that's when he started lashing out at them.
Yeah,
he actually started lashing out at them. So of course he gonna lose on MSNBC polls and most likely CNN. Even though I think CNN, you'll probably get a good balance, probably Republicans or in Democrats. But when he losing on Fox News polls, that's when he got problems. And he's been losing on some Fox News polls.
That's why the first president, the first and second time that President Obama was elected, like election night returns, we watched it on Fox News. We were like, okay, if they say it, then it's true, because they're gonna try to do everything they can. And I used to be seeing John King with the this and the that. No, Fox is like no. So they're the ones that
held his
one.
Right. Fox held his coronavirus report until the last minute, until he tweeted, I think. Like at first they were calling it a hoax, and then when he tweeted is when they finally announced it, like breaking news. Like, oh shit, we heard about that 5 hours ago.
We heard it on the real networks.
Right.
Because Fox wait to the last minute. They go, they gonna hold on to the last.
He'd be doing something weird, and they were like, yeah, the puppies in Bangladesh are like, what?
They just won't even report on some shit sometimes.
There's dangerous hamburgers out there. Like, it could be real stupid.
Well, look, we know the debate is starting soon. We want to get on real quick. We about to hit that mark. It's 5:30. We want to give everybody a chance to get ready. Go watch the debate. Go check out on my page. I had a podcast that I did with a friend of mine, Darnell Pearson, Apartment 107 podcast. check it out. I gave a lot of information that I think we've been trying to give people here on Uncouth, but I was able to just sit there for an hour straight and drop some facts on facts on facts on facts about, you know, the presidential race and how we need to become more policy voters than emotional voters. We got to stop not voting for people because we don't like them or we don't like the way they look or we don't like the way they talk, because that's not what get policy done. And that's the mistake I think Democrats, not just black people, but Democrats in general make, is voting, you know, based on some weird emotion and some weird purity test.
I would say the proof in that is, I mean, America is superficial as fuck. And the living proof of that, they always talk about the 1960 debate, where people who listened to it on the radio said Nixon won the debate.
Right.
People who watched it on TV say Kennedy won the debate.
Because he looked better.
Yeah, because he looked better. So we're very superficial with little bullshit like that.
Yeah, so I think we need to do a better job of looking at policy, voting policy more based off of what we like and what we don't like. These talking points, you know, like I had when I was talking to my friend Darnell, even about the crime bill. When you put the crime bill in context, he like, damn, like all the things that he thought about it, like he didn't know that Biden was trying to pull 3 strikes out, and then that the compromise was he only wanted it to be violent crimes, you know, violent felony crimes. He didn't know that Biden and the rest of the Democrats did that at the behest of the Congressional Black Caucus, and they did that at the behest of black leaders and the behest of black pastors and community leaders and mayors. He didn't even know that. And then he also said he didn't even know that Bernie Sanders signed it. He like, wait, Bernie Sanders signed it? I'm like, yeah. So the talking points that you use, I'm like, y'all, I said we need to if we are going to start to be politically awakened, we need to also learn how to be politically awakened with context and nuance. Like Quincy said, you got to talk about the climate and the times when certain things happen as well.
And I would say is like I struggle. I always actually it was Bernie Sanders that actually made me go back and look at the crime bill, because when he said he voted for it, he was like, well, yeah, I voted for it because the sex offender laws, the laws of regarding crimes against women was on there. So
they always bundle all this stuff into one package. It's like a compromise. It's a huge compromise.
because that's exactly how bills are made. So just real quick, if me and Dame came up with a bill, and now we got to get Mars vote, Mars don't want, you know, to put some stuff in there before we get his vote on the bill.
Right. And then got to get Embiid to the Lakers.
And then we want Chandler to get in.
Right.
We need Chandler vote, so then Chandler don't want her input. And that's how bills are created. That's why when you read the crime bill, it's all type of shit in there, because if you voted against it, and let's say you debate somebody, the easy attack would be, we had laws, sex offender laws, and you voted against them. They ain't gonna bring up the other part. They gonna bring up like there was strict domestic violence laws. There were laws for sex offenders to register. There were strict laws for sex offenders, and you voted against it. We have 100,000 sex offenders. So if you voted against it, it would have been easy for somebody to use. Also, part of the bill is a assault weapon ban.
Yeah,
the assault weapon ban. So there's all type of stuff that within that bill. If you voted against it, if you voted for it, people could have used. But one thing I always say this: when I go back and I read why some folks supported it, while some folks didn't support it. No one ever, not even the black people, no one ever mentioned this could lead to possible mass incarceration.
Right, because I think that's the one thing that they didn't see coming, besides the Republicans.
Nobody.
The thing they did. So the Republicans already knew the play. The Republicans already knew they was about to go into business as prisons, right?
Yeah. Because you know what, Dave? The fact you brought that up is that I would have been like, why are they agreeing with this shit? We got to go back and read.
Right, and what they also know is the average American doesn't even read into these laws. We just hear the name. The crime bill. We hear Obamacare. That's all we care. That's all Americans care about.
Too busy making assumptions.
speaking of that, and I know we wanted to like wrap up, so I'm just gonna remind you guys or tell you guys we're gonna have a discussion about some of the important propositions next week because people are voting, and we want to kind of just give you guys an idea. Like we always say, we look at this stuff every day, we talk, we research, but please, you guys do your own research. It's all out there. We're never finding anything, like nobody is like sending us stuff everything we find is Google articles, videos.
Maya has been up at 1 o'clock in the morning with nothing to do.
Luckily, Quincy is up and we are taking to school every day. Mars has stuff for us at 6 a.m. Like by the time we got homework when we wake up. So y'all, you guys got to get yourself a political group, find some people who you trust. But you please research because it's out there. It's out there. I mean, they might be trying to trick us, but we got to have that own. We got to be an informed voter. That's what that means.
Thank you.
You don't want to get to the polls, and we all be sitting there in the polls trying to figure shit out, like Google pictures and
because there we'll get into it next week. But there are some props. If you don't really like
read them shits right the way it's worded,
read between the lines,
you're gonna be voting against some shit that is actually helpful, but the how it's worded,
right?
You gonna be like, oh no, fuck that.
Hey, let me also want to look at who funds these, like who's promoting this, because that's a key.
Who funds them, who agrees with them, the politicians, all that stuff. Exactly. Even though we're going to get into some key ones that affect us, there's like different local, state, everybody's listening in different places. So we're just going to do a few like for us, but like kind of get you guys on that path of like, don't just check, eeny, meeny, miny, mo to this stuff, because some of this stuff loses and wins by just a few votes. So
Chandra, and I'm gonna tell you how real this is too, because there was something that I didn't check out all my props like I usually do before I went, and there was something that was in the vote that I thought I was voting in the affirmative, and I thought it was something I should vote for in the affirmative, but like Quincy said, the way it was worded, I should have voted no, and I voted yes, and I didn't, and then I got home. Yeah, I got home and they laid out on the news exactly what the prop meant, like how they read
what a yes means and what a no means.
Yeah, and I was like, damn it. I voted the wrong way on that. And I'm somebody who thought
they don't do that in regular language. They don't.
Yeah, so we want to make sure we go through
political language.
Yes, political language. So we want to make sure we go through some of those props with you guys next week. So please tune in next week so we can go through some of these props. If you have questions about specific props before next week, send them to my inbox and we'll try to research it for you and talk about it as well. Because like we just want to have as many informed voters as possible, and not just on the presidential race. We want you guys to be informed. There's a lot of Senate races happening. There's a lot of propositions. There's a lot of new laws on the books, and we gotta be more informed. We gotta know about more than just the president.
It's time for us to know the rules of the game and how to play it, so we can start taking advantage of it.
Yes,
and that's what it boils down to. Now I think a lot of people understand how having a Senate, having a House works for the president, how it can work against the president. It's like these different laws, props. And I know some people don't live in California because pretty much all the props you want to talk about are from California. So if you got some type of law or something that you want to talk about and you live in a different state, hit us up, but so we can have time to research it.
Yeah,
because I'll be looking up laws and stuff in other states as well, because not every law is similar to how things are here in California. And I know in California we don't have a Senate race, but if you in Arizona, I don't know if you're watching in Arizona, you're watching in
South Carolina.
North Carolina, Colorado. I gotta get on my brother about that one. Colorado, all these places with these Senate seats. If we really want to be able to hold Kamala and Joe Biden feet to the fire, we gotta give the people that when we introduce stuff, that these are the folks that we have it set up that they can pass certain bills and laws through. Because ain't no point for us to put in Joe Biden or Kamala if Mitch McConnell is still in charge of the fucking Senate.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Are we going back? Are we going to go back at 7? Lakers should have already won, right? So we should be done.
Yeah, next week we'll be back at our regular time, 6:45. Back at our regular time next week at 6:45 or 7.
What is the date? Because I think well, there's supposed to be another election. Another debate.
Debate.
Yeah. That debate ain't gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen because they said that they're gonna tell him they need to be either tested on the spot or provide a negative test. And he's not.
Biden pretty much said like we're going by if the doctor said that he's negative.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody gonna believe Trump doctor. So
Yeah. Not no more. Not
doctor, and he's
not up to that honor system.
Yeah.
All right, well, we want to thank everybody for joining us for Uncool. I want to thank all my co-hosts for hopping on early. I know we changed the schedule, so I thank y'all for being flexible as well and hopping in with us and tapping in. Everybody who tapped in the comments, make sure you tap in on these props next week. So we want to make sure we giving y'all the information that y'all need to get. Uncool Radio. Until next time, we are out of here.
Peace.